Welcome back, viewers. It's time for more half-assitude. And this is James Kalm coming to you from storefront Ten Eyck here in Bushwick. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to try to run around quickly and drop into 3 or 4 galleries and look at some of the current crop of paintings that are being shown. And I thought this was a great place to start. So this is a piece by Sharon Butler. Some of you people might be familiar with Sharon. She has a website called Two Coats of Paint, and she's a painter and educator, and she's actually one of the people that came up with the term, a new casualism in painting. This is a piece by Andrew Small. Abstraction, subtraction, oil on canvas, 14 by 12. I'm going to try to make this fast because we're going to try to visit like 4 or 5 shows today. Sarah Jones, Honest Misrepresentations. So I guess she's playing with the idea of pattern, perspective, and flat abstract design. Some interesting little pieces by Mark Cheatham, 5 and 8 to 10. These are acrylic on burlap on panel. And one of the nice things about working on a surface like that is it really dries out your color. You don't get much shine, so you're dealing with very flat paint quality. Jeff Fischera, Untitled 2012 oil on canvas, 80 by 60 inches. And it's a grid painting, very precisely and work-intensive patterning. I'm going to keep moving fast. Russell Perkins. This is pigment print on Dexter document security paper. Paul Corio, Lava Cat. It's acrylic on canvas, 30 by 40. Paul gets a real nice surface on there and nice colors. Well, Deborah Brown curated the show, and Deborah's one of the Bushwick boosters. This is Susan Shooten, Tick, Paintwood, and Color Aid. Now, everybody that's taken an art and design class has gotten to play with Color Aid paper. Miriam Cabeza, Lightbox Red, oil on canvas. And this is kind of an interesting technical piece. How she did this, kind of maybe splashing or spraying the oil paint. Looks like there's a lot of solvent in there. This is an oddly hung piece by Susan Shooten called Yodel. Oil paint, foam, and Color Aid. And I believe these are both by Benjamin Adelman. Untitled, oil on canvas, 18 by 24. This is also untitled, 21 by 25 and a half. Well, what I thought we'd try to do is just give you an example of some of the paintings that are being presented these days. Not all these people live in Bushwick. Some of them are from other parts of the country, and we'll try to get on and see some stuff from other countries. This is Christopher Rose, Untitled. Jeffrey Bishop, Big Red Turk. And yeah, I talked to Jeffrey at the night of the opening, and said I kind of like the color thing he's doing here with that salmon orange. Meg Atkinson, Marquis. This was one of the more interesting pieces. You can kind of see the shadows of some words in there. Monsoon. And although this is basically geometrical abstraction, there's a nice, funky, twisty, handmade quality about this. And I like the checked stripes. It's more Christopher Rose, Untitled. This looks like he is working from some kind of a blown up digital print. A lot of nice grays. And speaking of grays, this is Paul Campbell, black and white cluster, 2014 oil on canvas, 72 by 84 inches. Well, Paul is a longtime Williamsburg resident, and I'm not sure if this is one of his pieces, but he uses radio-controlled model cars to drive around some of his pieces. Now that might be what these long looping arches are made by. So he's sitting in his studio with his little control panel and driving cars over his paintings. Andrew Small, Crowded Head, 2014 oil and acrylic on canvas. I like the punchy colors, and well, a lot of people are using spray paint these days. It's kind of a nice touch, kind of makes you think of the graffiti on the street. Colin Hatton, Tether. It's acrylic on canvas, 40 by 48. This is a little more subdued, but oops. Really giving you an opportunity to see the materials, lots of raw canvas, and this paint over the top looks like it's kind of squeegeed through some kind of a scrim or something, maybe spray painted through a screen. A couple of nice little geometric studies by Matthew Neil Gehring. Now, I popped into Matthew's studio during Bushwick Open Studios, and we were talking a little bit about his painting technique, and from the dry quality of this, I thought this was acrylic, but he says that he uses some kind of a wax emulsion medium that flattens out his oil paint. So these are some nice little oil paintings. This is one of the more eye-catching pieces in the show by Brian Goldry, called Posizione, 2014. And Brian has got a very immaculate technique here. It almost looks like auto body paint that has been buffed down. And looks like maybe a little airbrush in there. And very nice, closely keyed palette. couple of nice small collages by Titania Semenova. And it's like wood grain, maybe. That's a great name. Jody Joyner had a t-shirt. Acrylic 30 by 30 inches. And last but not least, Maureen Mayer, Fear in the Dark acrylic on canvas, and Sky Suspended. We'll take a little closer look up at these, and it's some very tightly articulated abstract forms. Okay, that was Abstraction and Its Discontents, curated by Deborah Brown here at Storefront 10Ek. Let's roll on. Well, now we're going to pop in for a show at Interstate on Knickerbocker Avenue. And this is a show by Oscar Neilson. Well, I came in and saw the show maybe a couple of weeks ago and liked it, but I was taking a break from video. But when I decided to do a little report on painting, I thought I'd pop back in. And wouldn't you know it, I got an email from Oscar telling me that he had to show up. So, Oscar, I guess he's back in Gothenburg, Sweden. If you're watching, I got the message. Anyway, I kind of liked this work. This piece is titled Prom Fabric, which I think means Dream Factory. This is titled Rehearsal. And, well, I'm kind of a fan of what is technically called gooby paint. And I guess that's because I kind of came up during the neo-expressionist period back in the early 80s. And some of Oscar's work kind of recalls those painters, and even people like Kiefer have sort of gone on and developed their careers. It's titled Underground, oil on canvas, 13 by 10 inches. Now, I was just perusing the press release, and they were talking about Oscar thinking that kind of the darkness of fairy tales is very important. And this is like a couple of days after Halloween, so that's kind of timely. It's called Old Man Beats New. Now, I was also looking at this and thinking that there's a relationship to somebody like a Philip Guston. I'm liking this kind of ultramarine demon, some kind of character. This is titled Batman and Robin. Anyway, so Oscar was talking about how, and there's some collage in there, how he was taking these characters like the harmless ducky and kind of playing up the dramatic, sinister side of things. I guess this is Oscar's first show here in New York. It says he was born in 1976. And we'll wrap up with a couple of small pieces here. I actually like this. This is maybe one of my favorite pieces in the show, a little piece. Disaster training. And again, we're back here with your nice warm tub with your sinister duckies in there. Oh, geez, he's got some kind of an armband on there. High-heeled shoes. Maybe these are fetish duckies. Existentialists relax. Oil on canvas, 23 by 19 and a half. I think this also kind of relates to somebody like James Ensor and that whole kind of northern Gothic, grotesque expressionism. Oscar Neilson here at Interstate. Well, now we're going to drop in and see Andy Cross at Sardine, and we've actually caught the artist here, Andy Cross.
Hello.
Hi, okay, come in and we'll continue our little discussion. Talk to us about your show.
Well, the show's called Mirror Venus.
Mirror Venus.
And specifically, most of them are female portraits and then these resin mirrors that I've made. And I think this is a great mirror and Venus. It's a combination, so kind of literally the show title and the installation go hand in hand.
This is John Lutz, one of the proprietors here. Well, tell us a little bit about your Adjectives Daughters.
Well, my favorite thing about these, there's actually 24 in the whole series, and I took a drawing that was very detailed, line drawing, put it on the wall, and then every other day, I tried to start a new painting and tried to see how many variations on the theme that I could come up with. So depending on my mood, the thing that it taught me was depending on my mood, whether I was painting in the morning, whether I was painting at night, whether I had a coffee, whether I had a beer, no matter what my mood was, the palette came out, and then the way that I handled the brush, and I got these variations.
So we're talking about how you were kind of maybe riffing on various artists. I was thinking this one here kind of made me think of Edvard Munch.
All right.
This one I was thinking kind of made me think of Picabia.
That's great.
Maybe a little Picasso there, one of his minimal cubist pieces.
In the process, as I'm doing it, I can see that and I'll insinuate that or exaggerate that, or I'll suppress it if I don't like it. But you definitely have options when you're going through the process.
Well, let me ask you this: I'm doing a little kind of a painting tour around, and we just went and saw some kind of hard edge abstraction, and then I was looking at some European expressionistic figuration. Where do you think kind of ironic figuration like you're working with in New York fits in?
That's a good question.
Well, good. Give me a good answer.
I think it totally fits in. I think that you have to uphold the history. I think portraiture is totally relevant, and that the main thing us as painters have, or it's different from when this was done in the past, was we have fluorescent paint, we have fluorescent lights.
Well, we've got the internet, so we can sort of stay in touch with what's going on in different places. Do you feel like you have been excluded from a certain level of, I don't know what you call it, the more elite groups of painters in New York? You know, it seems to me that there's a real kind of a secret society of people that it's, you know, New York was where a lot of the abstract expressionism and some of the more, what can I say, overblown abstraction of the 20th century happened.
Yeah.
And if you're not part of that, if you're kind of maybe reacting against it, people kind of put you down,
For sure.
shut you out of things?
Well, it's that, and then I think it's market. They like to have a style and a
Right, the
niche
market is a big part of it.
that you kind of, if you brand yourself really well and you make something that's nice and easy to live with. And I really always like experimenting and pushing painting. So this painting, for instance, was there was a canvas. I cut it off of that same stretcher bar because I was frustrated with it. Was going to throw it away. I cut out this Matissean kind of floral pattern.
Right, in a lot of ways, this could pass for an abstraction. I mean, maybe there's some references to flowers, but this is pretty close to what I would guess would be called biomorphic abstraction.
But that would be almost impossible for me to recreate. That is 100% one of a kind.
An accident.
Yeah, like that came out of me and sitting and playing with that.
You were talking about also doing some experiments with things, and we were talking about your
Can you show
process
there in the
with.
reflection?
Well, we'll try it with this resin. Now, this is another example of a painting that I would say, in a lot of ways, is basically abstraction. I mean, you're using kind of a classic composition, but there's no. I mean, visibly, there's no portrait. There might have been one there somewhere, but in a lot of ways, this is also as abstract as a Gorky or Lake Miro, something like that.
Yeah, I love the pattern that I've kind of come up with. But to me, this is the way I like to talk about it or think about it is you have kind of like the reflective surface quality of kind of maybe some California minimal surface
Right, the
stuff.
air and space people.
Yeah, and then you have the more gestural, possibly West or East Coast New York kind of mark making.
Okay.
And it's boom, jammed together.
And we'll take a look at this piece. Now, you were saying that this one also has some collaged elements in there where you took another painting or maybe a couple of paintings and chopped them up and
That's basically
stuck them in there using more oil paint to stick it together.
Yeah, I love this one. This has the ticker symbols of the New York Stock Exchange for international currencies, rather, down there, and kind of for the breastplate. What became kind of the shape of her breastplate. You get this tropical island motif.
Yeah, I like that because you look at that and you wonder, gee, is that like some kind of an exotic feather, or is that a hole in the canvas where there's another picture coming through there? And it's nice because it sort of floats there. You never really get a definite read on where it sits. Yeah. Okay, let's wrap up looking at a couple of these. This is another mirror piece, right? Which,
yeah. So that one's called the Mirror of the Moon.
And that's about 18 by...
16 by 20?
16 by 20, okay.
I think it's 12 by 16. But yeah, that's two canvases, or one painting that I cut a shape out of, and then poured resin in.
Yeah, that resin is really nice. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I like your palette on that painting, too.
Yeah.
And we'll wrap up looking at this.
And then this is a portrait of the painter Emily Noel Lambert, and she and I went to Hunter together.
Emily
She
Lambert.
shows at Lou Magnus Gallery. She had a show that was awesome a couple months ago. And to me, it's this strange, semi-spiritual experience where there's a swan swooping down over her. It seems like she just had this amazing epiphany reading this book or something. Something's about to take place. But similarly, this one, it looks like a portrait right off, but just like the other ones, it changed over time for me. I painted her face the other way around first, and as I was working on it, it evolved and flipped upside down a couple times.
So most of these, I guess all of them are basically oil paintings. Some of these, they've got your little resin pours on, have got resin in them, but it's all oil painting.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Well, so this has been Mirror Venus, right?
Mirror Venus.
At Sardine. What street are we on?
286 Stanhope.
286 Stanhope. Thanks, John. And
Bushwick.
Bushwick. Thank you, Bushwick. And thank you, Kate. Thank you. That was nice.